Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that setup and playthrough of the game Sid Meier's Civilization A New Dawn. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The components were pretty good. I liked the map tiles, really cool. Being able to randomize that also adds to some replayability. Definitely enjoy that. Cards are all right. The small ones are decent. The dials they've stood up with a lot of play time, I guess, and a lot of kind of back and forth and twisting. So no issues there. Where I do have problems is, I guess, in the initial setup for the components, is that the box insert is just a bunch of baggies, right? And in fact, I think I needed to go get more baggies just to hold all the player tokens. So that kind of bothers me when the game doesn't just come with things inherently to keep things organized. You guys know that, I got a little bit of OCD when it comes to things like that. So when there isn't any organization in the box, it makes setup or tear down kind of daunting, and it pulls away from the fun that I should otherwise be having by diving into a game. This game is really good for the type of player, I'd say sort of medium to heavy strategic, right? What I really liked about the game was that focus track. Being every power having the ability to get powered up, or I guess every focus having the ability to be something really big, and then timing that throughout the game to either need to reinforce tokens, even though you might have done it a little too soon. So I thought the focus track worked out really well for this game. But one thing that again kind of pulled back from the game was the constant need to look into the book for combat resolution. So that one, at least for me, it took me quite a bit to even remember that barbarians were this and things like that, because the barbarians, the city-states, and everything, they operate differently. And city-states have one value, but then player cities have a different value, and then there's modifiers based around other tokens that might be around it. So that one, I always needed to keep the book on hand because for me, it wasn't so intuitive. So why should you add this game to your collection? Well, if you enjoy area control games that have a sort of light engine mechanic to it in that focus track, it adds a little bit something new to that area control. Now keep in mind though that it's an area control game. So I remember my first playthrough, I'm like, it took me a minute to kind of wrap my mind around not moving like a worker or putting something on the board, and that being sort of my marker for action. So I had to remember that my control tokens and cities needed to be put out there, and those were what I used to then leverage my next turn. So it took me a minute to kind of get used to, but once I got that piece down, really cool and enjoyable. And that damn focus track, it's really fun, and that adds such a heavy layer of strategy to the game because again, while your opponents are constantly going for what they're trying to get and, looking at the victory, like, all right, here's my condition. Oh no, I was really going for those two military wonders, and, so many have already been built. Now, I don't have a chance to do that. So I got to rethink my strategy and go for the other victory condition. So I thought that was really cool. A reason you may not want to add this into your collection, something that is, at least for me, quite a bit intimidating and just frustrating, is the setup component, right? So the setup takes almost, I'm being sarcastic, but it takes almost as long as the game itself, right? So you gotta do the tiles, and then I set up the board in that playthrough for just, the standard game. But then in the normal game, to randomize, you're gonna roll a die to pick a side, A or B, set up the base tiles for, and then each player gets a couple extra tiles, and they place those out, and that's all right and all. But the original setup, then handing out all the players all their stuff, and then setting up the wonders, finding the tokens. Yeah, that was a little frustrating. So if you if you don't like games that take a good minute to set up and, play, do it in the right capacity, and then a game that you got to constantly look back at the book, this one's gonna, it's gonna be a miss, or it's gonna sit on your shelf and not get played as often as you want. So those are kind of my takes on it. I'm really happy to have this game because, I do enjoy area control games, and I don't own too many of them. And like I said, when I get in those kind of Civ modes, I really kind of want to break this out. But what kind of pulls it back from breaking out a little more often for me are two things. One, the setup takes a while, but then two, there's only, I think, 5 or 6 of the victory cards, and you're randomly picking 3. I get that, but very quickly the victory conditions become stale. So while there's replayability in the layout of the map, there isn't replayability in where they kind of focus or guide you towards in terms of victory. I see what they were going for, and as someone who has played well over 100 hours of Civ on the PC, there's different paths to victory, and yeah, I think they could have done a little bit more there. But anyway, guys, that's my take. I do enjoy Civilization: A New Dawn. If you like it, if you have any thoughts, leave a comment below. If you like the content, feel free to give a subscribe. But otherwise, guys, thanks for joining me. As always, appreciate the support. Until next time, thanks for watching.